On the day of my wedding, my husband's childhood sweetheart, Gwen, deliberately replaced the Rolls-Royce that was supposed to pick up the bride with a three-wheeler. I heard Evan say you like the feeling of being free in the wind, she said. I think this three-wheeler suits you better. And I promise this wedding idea is the most special and completely one of a kind. Evan looked at her with a doting expression, then turned to me and said, "Come on, get in the car. Don't delay the wedding." But the moment he turned around, Evan picked up Gwen, who claimed she felt dizzy, and placed her into the Rolls-Royce. "Gwen stayed up all night renting the three-wheeler," he said. "I'll take her to the hotel first and wait for you there." Then he drove off in my car with his little childhood sweetheart, hugging and holding her. It was absolutely outrageous. I immediately called the police. "I want to report a theft. My Rolls-Royce has been stolen." But when Evan and his group arrived in front of me, driving 7 or 8 three-wheelers, I froze. I couldn't speak for a long time. Evan stepped down from one of the three-wheelers and gently helped Gwen get off. Gwen was dressed in a white tulle gown, smiling at me like she was the bride. "Zoe, what do you think? Isn't this wedding creative?" she asked. My throat tightened, and after a long moment I finally forced out a sentence. "Evan, are you crazy? It's our wedding today." Evan frowned. "Gwen spent days planning this idea. Not only are you ungrateful, but what do you mean by saying something like that?" Gwen carefully added, "Zoe, I heard Evan say you like feeling free. I thought your wedding car was too old-fashioned and boring. This three-wheeler is so cute, and it looks full of energy. You haven't tried it yet. Once you do, you'll definitely love the feeling. I promise this wedding plan is the most creative one." I looked at the three-wheelers. They were falling apart, filthy, and smelled terrible. I had no idea how they even made it here. Evan's childhood friend sat in the back, laughing loudly. One glance told me the ones behind were new. They had deliberately put the most broken one in the front. Their friend who was filming the wedding held up a camera, laughing uncontrollably. "This is so creative. I've never filmed a bride being picked up in a three-wheeler before. This is gonna blow up online. Come on, sister-in-law, get in the car. The breeze feels amazing." "Yeah," one of them added, "just like when Gwen and Evan kissed earlier at the front, super romantic." He was quickly muffled. "Don't talk nonsense." Gwen looked at the large, puffy skirt of my designer wedding gown and said, "Oh no, the skirt is a little big, but Zoe, if you hold the layers tightly, it'll be fine." My bridesmaid Ivy couldn't hold back anymore. "What is that supposed to mean? You did this on purpose, didn't you?" Evan's face darkened. "Zoe, your friend is extremely rude. How can she talk like that? She needs to apologize to her." I let out a cold laugh. "Why should my friend apologize? Did she say anything wrong? Have you ever seen someone pick up a bride in a three-wheeler? Evan, where is your mind?" Gwen bit her lip fearfully and hid behind Evan. "Evan, did I do something wrong? I thought this would be creative. I didn't expect Zoe not to like it. What should we do now? There's no time to switch the car fleet. Zoe, can you just make do this once? We'll be at the hotel soon. Today is your wedding with Evan. Can't you endure it a little? Loving someone isn't about the form, it's about loving the person. Isn't that right?" I almost slapped her right then. "Make do?" I looked at her teary eyes and said, "Just put up with it." I snapped. "Gwen, you've even redesigned a single bridesmaid dress more times than I've altered my own wedding gown. Why don't you ever compromise? Why should I have to compromise on your ideas for my own wedding? How dare you?" I was so afraid that Evan would slap me, I barely held myself back. "How can you say something like that, Zoe? Gwen worked so hard on this plan. Wasn't it for us? If you don't appreciate it, that's one thing, but now you're openly showing her attitude?" The friends behind them all got out of the cars, surrounding me with accusing eyes. "Evan," one of his friends muttered, "I told you, Zoe is no pushover. She dares to act like this in front of Gwen. Who knows how she would have treated her if we hadn't been around." It was Evan again. "I've told you before, Zoe only wants your money, Gwen. You still don't believe me. That pale look on your face is because of the embarrassment over the three-wheeler. Let me tell you, Zoe, people flaunt what they lack the most. Are you completely crazy? Do you really think driving this three-wheeler will make someone look down on you?" I looked at their faces, their expressions utterly vile. In the eyes of this group of privileged rich kids who didn't understand anything about the real world, I had always been an outsider, someone from a poor background trying to sneak into their circle. I had been dating Evan for 2 years leading up to our wedding, and I had never told him my true identity. I thought that when our parents went up to give their speeches, he would finally find out who I really was. It was supposed to be a surprise for him, something special I wanted to give him. But he didn't even get that far. In his eyes, just like he had told his friends, I was a woman after his money, vain and superficial, only with him for his wealth. But he never considered that if I truly loved his money, in those 2 years of dating, I had never accepted a single luxury gift from him. When I bought my Rolls-Royce, I had only jokingly said, "This is a second-hand car, right?" I heard that after this year's heavy rains, lots of flooded second-hand cars are selling for really cheap, sometimes for hundreds of thousands, sometimes even just tens of thousands. Almost ready for the junkyard, only people trying to save face would buy them. "Zoe, you can't use Evan's money to buy some flooded, beaten-up car just for the sake of appearances," Evan warned. "It'll break down in no time. Is it really worth it just for face?" "Evan, you should also tell Zoe, if she drives this out and the original owner sees it, it'll be so humiliating." Because of Gwen, Evan believed that I was vain and superficial. Even our wedding was being influenced by his childhood sweetheart's ideas. Gwen kept coaxing him. "It's okay, don't be mad. Today Zoe is the bride. She's bound to be a little sensitive. Just give in this once." She cautiously glanced at me. "Zoe, there's another three-wheeler. We can squeeze in together, okay?" As she reached out to steady me, her high heel caught on a stone and she toppled toward me. Rip. My haute couture wedding gown tore along the seam. The once elegant dress became a tangled mess, ruined and ragged. Behind us came the sound of laughter from their friends. Perfect. The destroyed gown made Evan look even more heartbroken, which made Gwen smirk. "Ha ha," she said, holding the torn fabric in her hands. A hint of amusement flickered in her eyes as she looked at me. "Sorry, I didn't mean to. The dress is ruined. Why don't you change into another one? When I bought my dress, the store gave me an extra one, so I brought it today." I had thought it was good to be prepared, and now it was finally paying off. Gwen reached behind her and pulled out a plastic bag, taking out a crumpled dress. At a glance, it looked like something that cost just a few $dozen, a cheap knockoff from an online marketplace. "Do you even know how much this wedding gown cost? Are you out of your mind, you little schemer?" I yelled. Gwen pouted. "Sorry, should I pay you back?" I glared at her and brought up the payment record on my phone, showing her. 1 million. Do you want WeChat or Alipay? Gwen's face went pale, frozen in disbelief. "No way. There's no way you could afford a $1 million gown. You photoshopped it, didn't you?" Evan shoved my phone aside. "Enough. Are you done making a scene? Do you even want to get married or not?" Gwen pressed her hands to her chest and collapsed into his arms. "Evan, I feel so tight in my chest. I'm so dizzy." Evan tossed the bouquet that had been brought for the pickup onto the ground, scooped her up, and held her. "I'll carry you to the car." Walking toward the end of the convoy, I finally realized that my Rolls-Royce wedding car was following behind. He glanced back at me. "Gwen stayed up all night making calls to rent these three-wheelers. She worked herself to exhaustion, and you're still fighting. I'll take her to the hotel first and wait for you there. You and the bridesmaids can come by three-wheeler." With that, he climbed into the car with Gwen without another word. I blocked Evan. "This is my car. There's enough space inside for me and Ivy." Evan's face darkened. "There are so many people, the air in the car is already bad. Gwen can barely breathe. And now you insist on making this an issue?" I shot back. "And you're proud of one second-hand car that's practically ready for the junkyard? Fine, after the wedding, I'll get you a new one. Just a $10,000 car. Big deal." The Rolls-Royce passed by me, the window rolling down. Gwen's smug face appeared. "Zoe, today you're the bride, so be careful on the three-wheeler. Don't get your dress dirty." I shivered with rage. "Zoe, you're seriously marrying this man?" I muttered to myself. "I'm not marrying him." I pulled out my phone to call the police. "Hello, my Rolls-Royce has been stolen. Yes, this car is worth $8 million. I just took delivery less than a month ago. I have a lead. The thief is at the Bright Moon Bay Hotel. Please go and catch them." Just as I hung up, Evan's friends came charging over, yelling, "Are you out of your mind? A second-hand car worth $8 million? Have you lost it?" I ignored them, holding on to the thought that Evan would get his comeuppance at the hotel. I climbed onto a three-wheeler with Ivy. "Don't worry, there will be a show to watch." Meanwhile, in Evan's friend group chat, they were frantically tagging him. "Zoe's crazy. She said her car is worth $8 million and actually called the cops, Evan. You need to teach her a lesson." Then they sent several photos of me, looking miserable on the three-wheeler, my wedding gown completely ruined, stained from the dirty seats, and smeared with oil. The people driving the three-wheelers deliberately took the road over bumps, making the ride shake violently, with the smell of sweat and grease. Evan's friends were filming video while simultaneously sending it to the chat group. I took out my phone and saw that Gwen had also sent photos. She and Evan had already arrived at the wedding venue. Inside, the roses and champagne created a warm, romantic atmosphere, but the most glaring images were of her and Evan drinking from the same glass during the toast, exchanging rings, and standing at the hotel entrance in her white tulle dress, greeting guests like newlyweds. She even sent a photo of them on stage exchanging rings. In the group chat, she wrote, "The guests arrived so early. Zoe hasn't gotten here yet, so I'll save a spot for her and start welcoming people." She sounded half like a bride already, and it was so humiliating. "Evan is so clumsy," she added. "He didn't even know how to do the wedding toast. I had to practice several times with him before he got it. I'm dizzy from it myself." Their friends laughed inside the chat, joking that Evan should serve as Gwen's flower guard today. "Yeah, what if Gwen gets drunk and someone takes advantage of her? Evan, you need to take care of her," she teased. Gwen then sent a voice message. "Oops, Zoe, I forgot you're in the chat. Don't mind us. We're just joking. I'm just helping Evan get through the toast. I only want him to have a perfect wedding." I sent a voice message back. "I don't mind. After all, who in this world is more perfectly matched than you two? So perfectly matched, it's nauseating." Almost immediately, the group chat exploded with scolding messages. "Apologize to Gwen right now. She's practicing the toast for Evan, not for you. Do you even have a conscience?" Evan called me directly. "Zoe, if you don't want to get married, keep acting out. But if you want to marry me, go to the hotel now and apologize to Gwen." I let out a cold laugh. Apologize to her? Let her wait. I furiously tapped my phone. Is he blind in both eyes? Today, this lady is going to show him how serious I can be. That nouveau rich thinks he's some kind of elite. That little schemer, I'll smash her face later. Ivy and I were nearly about to be sick from the jolting ride as the three-wheeler finally stopped in front of the Bright Moon Bay Hotel. The doorman frowned at me as I stepped off. "Miss, sorry, your car can't park here." He looked me over again. "Also, you can't enter the hotel if you're not properly dressed." Just then, Gwen, trailing behind Evan, came out of the hotel. Evan frowned at me. "Look at you. How are you even supposed to go up on stage like that? Aren't you embarrassing me?" I gritted my teeth, grabbed Gwen, and strode forward. Summoning all my strength, I delivered a hard slap to Evan's face, turning his head sharply to the side. Gwen screamed, "Zoe, how dare you hit Evan?" I glared at her. "Why did I hit him? Don't you even know in your heart why? Evan, you and your little childhood sweetheart rode in my wedding car, greeted guests like newlyweds, drank from the same glass as if you were husband and wife. The wedding should be over by now, right? But you did all this. Don't you feel incredibly happy inside, married to the person you love?" Evan looked awkward and tried to explain. "I don't even know why. The guests arrived so early and you weren't here. Gwen volunteered to help me welcome them and get people seated first. If she hadn't helped, I would have had to do it all myself. And now you're not even thanking her? You're blaming her?" I pointed at the sign at the entrance for welcoming guests. Then why did I schedule the start time for 12 o'clock? But the sign here clearly said 11 o'clock. Only then did Evan realize something was wrong. How did this get written wrong? How did I not notice? I gave a cold laugh and looked at Gwen. "Wasn't this arranged by you, Gwen? No wonder you made me come by three-wheeler while you two arrived early. So this was your plan all along, right?" I stared at her. "Gwen, you like Evan, don't you? You've always wanted to be his bride, right? You should have said so earlier. Treth, I would have gladly given you the position. No need for these little tricks. That wedding dress you're wearing, that's the newest bridal collection, isn't it? Evan may be too stupid to notice, but I'm not. You tore my gown, made me look ridiculous, forced me to come on a three-wheeler, while you showed up at the venue looking exactly like the bride. The guests inside must think it's your wedding today, right? If you wanted to marry him this badly, you should have told me sooner. I would have stepped aside. Why pretend to be my friend, whining and sniffling in front of me every day? Is that fun for you? Gwen's face flushed red under the pressure of my words. No, that's not what I meant at all. I ripped the bridal corsage from my chest and threw it at her face. Stop pretending to be innocent in front of me. I don't buy your act. Since you've already enjoyed all the treatment a bride gets and even went on stage for the ceremony, then do everyone a favor and pay for the wedding banquet. You can't be the bride while I, some outsider, have to foot the bill. Evan finally snapped. Gwen didn't do it on purpose. How can you think of her like that? She's not that kind of person. I looked at him with disgust. Of course, whatever she does is perfect in your eyes. Even if she farted, you'd probably think it smells sweet. Well, congratulations. You two already acted like a married couple. So go ahead and stay together. Gwen, you win. This man is yours. Evan grabbed my arm tightly. Stop it, Zoe. What are you even saying? I shoved him away. What I'm saying is we're done. I don't want a scumbag like you. Just then, a police car pulled up beside us. Hello, we received a report earlier. Someone reported a stolen vehicle. I pointed at Evan and Gwen. I'm the one who called. This couple stole my Rolls-Royce. Gwen stared at me in shock. When did we ever steal your car? I widened my eyes. Oh, right, you didn't steal it, you robbed it. Officers, my car has a dash cam. They left me on the side of the road and drove off in my car. I tried to get in, and they wouldn't let me. If the owner doesn't give permission and you forcibly drive away their car, that's robbery, right? The officers looked at the two of them. Is what she said true? Evan glared at me. Can you stop with this nonsense? All this because you didn't get picked up in a Rolls-Royce? You really had to call the police. I spread my hands. Why wouldn't I? You two drove off in a car worth several million and forced me onto a three-wheeler. What, is the police station owned by your family? Do you get to decide the law? We live in a lawful society now, remember? I turned to Gwen. Shut up. Don't start your crying act here. The police won't fall for it. You stole my car and I haven't even cried, so what are you crying for? Crying louder doesn't make you innocent. Save those tears for when you're in jail. I turned back to the officers. Officer, even though the car has been found, today was supposed to be my wedding. They abandoned me on the road and stole my wedding car. They ruined my couture wedding gown, dirtied it, tore it apart, and made me miss my own wedding. This has caused an irreversible emotional scar in my life and in my heart. I will not accept mediation. Arrest them. I'm done pretending, completely done. I'm tearing off the masks of this disgusting pair today. Evan hurriedly tried to explain to the officers. She's my fiancée. We just had a small disagreement because of the wedding car. It's not a big deal. Sorry to trouble you. Then he turned to me. Can you stop wasting police resources? Do you know how immoral this is? The police looked at me. Is what he said true? I shook my head and pulled up the photos from the group chat. Officer, look. These were just taken. Here they are at the entrance, greeting guests as the bride and groom. And here's the champagne toast. And here they're kissing. And this one, they're exchanging rings. He claims I'm the bride? Obviously, he's lying. Evan and Gwen's friends rushed over to testify. Officer, she's lying. Evan and Zoe are the real couple. She came here in the wedding car. Gwen is just the bridesmaid. I looked at them coldly. You said I arrived in the wedding car? I pointed at the Rolls-Royce decorated with wedding symbols. Then who exactly were the two people getting out of that car earlier? Ask the hotel staff, they can confirm. One friend shouted, You arrived in the three-wheeler. I turned to the police. Officer, would you believe that? The bridesmaid and the groom ride in the Rolls-Royce and the bride rides a three-wheeler? Who in their right mind uses a three-wheeler as a wedding car? You tell me, if that's not insanity, then what is? The police looked at Evan sternly. What's going on? Evan's face twisted awkwardly. Yes, I came with the bridesmaid in the wedding car. My fiancé took the three-wheeler. The officer stared at him in disbelief. You young people really know how to play, huh? What were you thinking? Trying to get divorced on the same day you get married? You took the bridesmaid in the Rolls-Royce and sent the bride on a three-wheeler? And you're sure that's a bridesmaid? I let out a dry, cold laugh. Well, she's not the bridesmaid anymore. Once you stand in front of guests, share the toast, kiss, and exchange rings, you're basically a couple already. And by the way, Evan and I never even got a marriage license. Don't try to drag me into your little marriage. Evan's face darkened. Just because of this small wedding car issue, you called the police and blew everything up? I always knew you were poor and money hungry, but now you'd even throw away your dignity for money, filing a false police report. He turned to the officers. Officer, her claim that the car is worth $8 million is fake. It's a second-hand car worth barely $10,000. And yes, I'm her boyfriend. We're the couple getting married today. There was just a little misunderstanding. The officer replied, well, stealing an $8 million car and stealing a $10,000 car are very different matters. And if you're really a couple, then calm your girlfriend down and get her to withdraw the complaint. I pulled out my phone again and showed them my purchase record, my chat history with the dealership staff, and the full payment transaction. I handed everything to the officer. His expression changed immediately as he looked at Evan and Gwen. He now has proof the car is indeed worth $8 million. You two can decide whether you want to negotiate compensation or come with us to file a case. Gwen screamed, $8 million? Impossible. Look at him. How could someone like him afford an $8 million car? If he had that kind of money, why would he be living like this? Gwen kept screaming, he rents an apartment every day. And she's a gold digger. She clung to Evan only because of his money. Everyone in this circle knows Zoe is a gold digger. If we didn't pity her, how could she ever squeeze her way in? She's just embarrassing. I froze. I didn't know that. Since when was I, the daughter of Samuel Nolan, a gold digger? My father's daughter needs your pity? What a joke. The Reed family isn't even qualified to carry the Nolan family's shoes. A deep, powerful voice came from behind us. I turned around in surprise. It was my dad. Dad. My nose instantly stung, and I ran straight into his arms. He held me up and looked at my completely ruined state. What happened to you? Why do you look like this? And why did you suddenly say you were getting married? You said you wanted to introduce your fiancé to us. Sniffing, I looked at my dad. There's no wedding. I canceled it. Evan's face drained of all color. He hurried over and grabbed me. You're the Nolan family's daughter? That's impossible. He turned pale as he looked at my dad and immediately bowed respectfully. Hello, sir. I'm Zoe's fiancé. Today is our wedding. She never told me about her background. I didn't know, but we're very much in love. There was just a small misunderstanding earlier, right, Zoe? He gazed at me tenderly, eyes glistening as if he could cry. Today was all my fault. I made you suffer. I promise this will never happen again. Don't be upset, okay? Explain to your father. It was all just a misunderstanding. I yanked my arm out of his grip. A misunderstanding? Was it a misunderstanding when you forced me onto a three-wheeler? Was it a misunderstanding when Gwen made things hard for me? Was it a misunderstanding when you drove off in my wedding car and left me on the side of the road, humiliated? Isn't your wedding already finished? What does it have to do with me? Right then, hotel staff rushed out. They looked at Evan and Gwen. Excuse me, the two newlyweds, please settle today's bill. Gwen immediately stepped back. What does that have to do with me? I'm not the one getting married. The staff member bristled. Miss, are you trying to cheat us? We have surveillance. You were the one on stage reciting the vows, right? Exchanging rings, right? Wearing a wedding gown, right? How do you have the nerve to deny it? You just finished the ceremony. You're still wearing the dress. Gwen clung to Evan's sleeve. Evan, explain to them. I was just filling in for Zoe on stage, just pretending to be the bride. The staff member snorted. Who in their right mind lets someone pretend to be the bride? If you're going to make excuses, at least come up with a good one. The total cost is $500,000. I don't care whether you two are truly married or not. The ones who got married on stage were the two of you. After subtracting the deposit, The remaining $500,000 must be paid immediately. Otherwise, we'll call the police. He turned and noticed the officers already standing beside us. Oh, perfect officers. They can explain everything to you. If they won't pay, hand them over. The police folded their arms and looked at Evan and Gwen. Looks like the two of you will have to come with us. Evan looked at me, eyes full of disappointment. Zoe, is this the outcome you wanted? 2 years together, and because of one wedding car, you dragged us all the way to the police station? Gwen broke down crying. Zoe, I don't want to go to the police station. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to upset you a little. Gwen cried. I didn't mean to embarrass you. I turned away, ignoring both of them, and held on to my father's arm. Dad, I want to go home. My dad gave the crowd a cold, sharp look and snorted. He instructed his assistant, handle it. Whoever needs to pay, makes them pay. Whoever needs to go to jail, send them to jail. Anyone who dares bully my daughter, I will never let them go. My cousin Yin Yin and I followed my father into his car. Evan ran after us for several steps. Zoe, listen to me. I really love you. We were about to get married, weren't we? But our car moved faster and faster, leaving him far behind. In the end, Gwen and Evan were taken to the station for questioning. Based on the investigation, Gwen had to pay $1 million for destroying my wedding gown. As for the stolen car report, Evan eventually hired a lawyer to negotiate with me and paid $8 million as compensation for emotional and personal damages. After I signed the settlement, they were finally released from the police station. The moment they stepped out, reporters who had been waiting rushed toward them. Mr. Reed, is it true your ex-girlfriend is the heiress of the Nolan family? Mr. Reed, yesterday was supposed to be your wedding with the Nolan heiress. Why did it suddenly become Miss Gwen instead? What happened? Mr. Reed, is your relationship with Miss Gwen true love? You actually gave up a $1 trillion heiress for her? Miss Gwen, are you the third party? We heard you were supposed to be the bridesmaid. How did you suddenly become the bride? Miss Gwen, it said you secretly changed the time on the invitations. What was your intention? The two of them were chased and squeezed from every direction. They struggled to break through the crowd and finally got into their car, heading back to the Reed residence. The moment they stepped inside, Evan's father was waiting in the living room. His voice roared through the house, "Kneel." Evan dropped to his knees with a loud thud. You unfilial son, do you know what you've done? The Nolan family publicly announced today that any company cooperating with the Reeds will be blacklisted. Our business is collapsing, contracts canceled, deals ruined. Gwen froze in terror and looked desperately at Evan's mother. Auntie, it was Zoe. She did it on purpose. Evan's mother slapped her hard across the face. Shameless girl. What are you? If you hadn't interfered yesterday, Zoe would already be my daughter-in-law. I didn't expect you to be so cunning, tricking my son and making him do so many stupid things. Before, I didn't mind. But now, because of you, the Reed family is on the brink of ruin. Get out. And don't you ever set foot in this house again. A woman like you will never be allowed into this family. Evan tried to lift his head, wanting to plead for Gwen. But his father shouted, You want to beg for her? Then get out with her. The Reed family would rather pretend we never had a son like you. They kicked Gwen out of the house. She sobbed, grabbing Evan's arm. Evan, you know I didn't mean to. I didn't do it on purpose. Evan's mother spat. No wonder yesterday that wedding planner said the bride was late and you stepped in so the guests wouldn't laugh. So that's what you were plotting. You were deliberately trying to disgust her. And now you've ruined our entire family. You curse-bringing disaster. Get out. Gwen returned to the the Grant household, her own family. But the moment she stepped inside, her older brother slapped her twice across the face. You caused a catastrophe like this, and you still dare come home. Gwen clutched her cheek, crying. How dare you hit me? His sister-in-law snapped sharply. Hitting you is already being gentle. Do you even understand the disaster you've caused? The Nolan family has now declared that every business connected to the Grant family is blacklisted. No one will dare work with us anymore. You're a walking catastrophe. All you do every day is cry. What else can you even do? She glared at Gwen. And don't try your fake innocent act with me. I'm not Evan, that idiot who thinks you're some pure little angel. I've watched you grow up in this house, I know exactly what kind of person you are. Let me tell you, if you don't go beg Zoe for forgiveness, then get out of this house. I'm your sister-in-law, and the eldest sister-in-law is like a mother. Do you understand that? If the Grant family collapses and the Nolans still won't forgive us, Gwen Grant, don't blame us when your brother and I arrange a marriage for you. You'll marry whoever can help the Grant family survive, and we won't care if he's some old, ugly man. Gwen went ice cold. Her sister-in-law was known for meaning every word she said. With her powerful family background, she had always been able to make decisions in the Grant family. If she said she'd marry Gwen off to an old man, she absolutely would. Meanwhile, when I returned to the Nolan home, my mother nearly broke into tears from how distressed she was. This is why I didn't want you going out to gain experience. What experience does my daughter need? Anyone who didn't know better might think you went out to suffer a calamity. That Reed family and the Grants, they've gone too far. They really thought our daughter has no one backing her? My dad huffed angrily. Don't worry. I released a statement. Anyone who does business with the Reeds or the Grants is declaring themselves the Nolan family's enemy. They'd better not blame me for being ruthless. I heard both of their stocks hit limit down today. Don't worry, even if they don't die, they'll shed a few layers of skin. Back at the Nolan estate, I stayed home only 2 days before Evan showed up again. Every day he brought flowers, gifts, and stood outside pretending to be some heartbroken lover. One afternoon, when Yin Yin came to visit, her car drove through the gates and she spotted Evan standing outside like a tragic statue. She sneered loudly. Well, if it isn't Prince Evan, what is pretending to be devoted now the new trend in your upper crust circle? Please, late devotion is cheaper than weeds. She pointed at the bouquet in his hands. And Zoe has never liked tacky red roses. The only reason you think she does is because you once said it. You don't even know what she truly likes, yet you dare show up with that junk? Embarrassing. Evan's face flushed red, then pale. He shouted from outside the gate, Zoe, I really know I was wrong. Give me one more chance. Think about our 2 years together. Can you really walk away so easily? Meanwhile, Yin Yin deliberately invited many friends from real wealthy families to our house. Low-key, powerful heirs whom Evan could only dream of befriending. He could only watch helplessly as they walked through the Nolan gates one after another. That despair on his face grew deeper every day. That was when he truly understood what he had lost. Everything he once dreamed of. I watched Evan grow more exhausted and hollow-eyed by the day. Finally, a week later, I allowed him to come through the Nolan gate. The moment he saw me, his eyes turned red. He dropped to his knees with a heavy thud. Zoe, I was wrong. Please, give me another chance. Please forgive me. I swear, I'll devote myself to you for the rest of my life. You know I really love you, Evan said. I looked at him coldly. Evan, I let you come in only to tell you this. Never show up at the Nolan estate again. I never want to see you for the rest of my life. You truly make me feel disgusted. Evan tried to grab my hand, but I pulled away. He growled, Why? All this because of a wedding car? Are you really going to erase all the feelings we've had? I pulled out my phone and played a recording. It was a conversation between Evan and Gwen. Evan's voice came through. I never expected Zoe to be so cunning. She tricked me for so long. If I had known she was the Nolan heiress that day, none of this would have happened. Gwen's crying voice followed. Evan, I was locked up at home. Go comfort Zoe for me. She's only thinking about you. Get her to forgive us and let our families go. The Nolan family has only one daughter. Once she changes her mind, you can marry her, and the Nolan estate will be yours. Then we can still be together. Once you hold all the power in the Nolan family, everything will be under your control. And I'm carrying your child. If you don't think of me, at least think of the baby. I closed the recording. This recording I had already sent to the heads of both the Grant and Reed families. Evan could only face the consequences now. He tried to struggle, but the bodyguards rushed forward and threw him out the door. Evan's father exploded with rage. The Reed family has other sons to carry on the family name. You no longer have any right. Gwen fared even worse. Because the Grants were nearly bankrupt, Evan's sister-in-law found a wealthy businessman willing to support the family. That very night, she sent Gwen to the arms of a man in his 60s. The next day, there was no trace of Gwen in Harbor City. I slowly began taking over all the affairs of the Nolan estate. Perhaps I had inherited my father's business acumen because I adapted quickly. After taking control, the company's business doubled compared to previous years. The shareholders were ecstatic. They didn't care whether the heir was male or female, they only cared about profits. I, Zoe Nolan, became the next board chairman, supported unanimously by all shareholders. I learned about Evan again at a business conference. He was accompanying an older CEO's daughter, Miss Sharon, attending as her companion. Rumor had it he was desperately pursuing a wealthy woman more than 10 years his senior. I stood on the second floor with my glass in hand, watching Evan bow humbly before her. I smiled to myself. Finally, everything was over. After all the chaos, the lies, and the emotional shocks I endured, I finally found peace in my life. The company under my leadership was thriving, my employees respected me, and the shareholders completely trusted my decisions. I was no longer being manipulated or abandoned by anyone. Evan, the man who once hurt me so deeply, was now just a part of my past. I could see his desperate attempts to hold on, but I felt nothing for him anymore. All the emotions he once assumed I had for him were now just faded memories. I had learned to put myself first and to understand my own worth. As for Gwen, who had once been my rival, she had left the city and started a new life. But she no longer had any power or influence over me. Whenever I thought about the past, I didn't feel anger or resentment, only relief and a sense of growth. I stood on the balcony, looking out over the city at sunset, a cup of tea in my hand, the breeze gently blowing through my hair. Everything was over, but the lessons about resilience, self-respect, and my own strength remained. I smiled, knowing that from now on, no one could ever hurt me again. The future was mine, and I would walk forward with confidence, independence, and happiness in the life I chose for myself. The end.